Assalamualaikum. We are from Group The Tuition, and our project title is Online Car Workshop Appointment System. First, let me introduce our group members. First one, we have NURUL SYAFIQA BINTI YAHAYA. The next one, we have SOFEA MAISARAH BINTI KAMARUDDIN. The third member is Aisyah Alhumaira BINTI FADHLUR RAHMAN. And last but not least, me, RAIHAN FARHANIE BINTI HAIZAM.
Now, let me introduce our project, the online car workshop appointment system. Currently, many workshops still rely on manual methods like phone calls, paper record, and WhatsApp message. These outdated approaches often lead to long wait times, double bookings, and misplaced records. Also, poor resource management. So our proposed system will solve this problem by providing a web-based platform where customer can easily book service anytime, view the available slots, and make the secure online payment. Staff also can manage appointment, update service progress, and verify payment, while the manager can oversee the operation, configure service, and generate reports. A key feature is the online payment module, which is our system support FPS, credit cards, debit cards, and e-wallets, which reduce cash handling and improve the transaction security. Overall, the system improves the efficiency, will reduce error, and enhances customer satisfaction by digitalizing the appointment process, helping the workshop meet the modern expectation.
So I will explain the context diagram for our online car workshop appointment system. So this diagram shows the interaction between the system and three external entities, which are customer, staff, and manager. So the customer can register, log in, book appointments, and view service history and make payments through the system. The system then provides appointment confirmations and payment receipts. So the staff uses the system to log in, manage customer information, update service details, and handle the appointment and payment information. And then the manager uses the system to monitor workshop operations, manage schedules, view appointment information, and access transaction reports. Overall, the context diagram shows the flow of information between users and the online car workshop appointment system.
As you can see, we have three main users here, the customer, the staff, and the manager. First up, both customer and staff can register and log in into the system. For the day-to-day workshop operation, the customer handle booking through the manage appointment feature, while the staff update slot availability from their end. Once the service is done, the customer makes a payment and the staff can process it right through the managed payment use case. Lastly, we have the manager who has a specific role to oversee everything by pulling business insights through the manage report feature.
Next, I will explain the sequence diagram for manage user and user registration and login. So this diagram shows the interaction between four components, which are the customer, login interface, login controller, and user database. So the process starts when the customer opens the registration page and enters their registration details. The login interface receives the information and sends the registration data to the login controller. So the login controller then checks the user database to verify whether the email address is unique and has not been registered before. So if the email is available, the system stores the user information in the user database and successfully creates a new account. After that, a registration successful message is displayed to the customer. Next, the customer proceeds to the login process by entering their username and password. The login interface sends the login credentials to the login controller, which then validates the information against the user database. If the credentials are correct, the user database returns a successful validation result to the login controller. The login controller then grants access to the user and the system displays the dashboard according to the user's role. Besides the normal flow and alternative flow, this sequence diagram also includes exception flow, which is the first exception flow occurs when the customer submits incomplete or invalid registration details. In this situation, the system validates the form and displays an error message so that the customer can correct the information before submitting again. The second exception flow occurs when the user enters an incorrect username or password during login. So the system will return an error message indicating that the credentials are invalid and the user must try again with the correct informations. Overall, this sequence diagram illustrates how the system handles user registration, credential verification, account creation, and login authentication in a secure and structured manner.
Alright, so next I'm going to present the sequence diagram for Manage Appointment and Slot Availability module. The process begins when a logged-in customer requests to view open slot. The booking interface passes this request to the booking controller, which triggers retrieve slot data to pull real-time availability from the appointment record database. Once the customer chooses a time, the controller evaluates the request via validate slot choice and instructs the database to hold slot temporarily. This structure prevents other users from booking the same slot during checkout. After payment is confirmed, the controller executes a finalized appointment, successfully saving the record. To prevent double bookings, the system updates globally within 5 seconds. Next one is for the alternative flow. When workshop staff or managers need to alter schedules, they trigger view schedule configuration through the interface. The controller fetches the active timeline layout from the database. From there, an authorized user can send a block slot request. The controller instantly processes a write schedule block commanded to the database, removing those operational slots from the customer-facing calendar menu dynamically. The last one is for the exception flow. If a slot becomes occupied by a faster concurrent transaction before checkout finishes, the system catches the collision. The controller immediately calls release temporary hold to clear any deadlocks in the database, pushes a display conflict alert reading slot no longer available to the interface, and executes a clean calendar refresh to reset the user journey seamlessly.
Now, I will explain the managed payment sequence diagram for our online car workshop appointment system. This diagram shows how different actors, which is customer, staff, manager, payment system, payment gateway, and database interact during the payment process. Let's start with the basic flow. The process begins when the customer select Pay Now after booking. The payment system will display available payment method and the customer will enter their details. These details are sent to the payment gateway, which processes the transaction and return a status. The staff or system will verify the transaction and update the database with the payment record. After that, the system will generate a receipt for the customer and the manager can review the transaction report and logs. Finally, the service is confirmed, completing the payment process. Now, let's look at the alternative flow. If the customer chooses pay later, the appointment is marked as pending payment. If the customer cancel midway, the status will revert to unpaid. And if staff record an offline payment, they will manually update the payment status in the system. Next, lastly, the exception flow, which is the flow that handle error. If there is gateway timeout or error, the system will notify the customer and prompt them to retry. If the customer enter invalid details, the system reject the transaction and request the correction. If there are insufficient funds, the system will display an error message and allow the customer to retry. Finally, the diagram will ensure that post conditions are met, which is the successful method if the successful payment are marked as paid and stored in the database. Failed payment will remain unpaid and the manager's report are updated accordingly. In summary, This sequence diagram clearly show how the system manage payment, including normal transaction, alternative option, and error handling. It demonstrates secure processing for staff verification and manager oversight to ensure that every payment is properly recorded and confirmed.
So, on the Manage Report module, this sequence diagram shows exactly how the data flow when a report is requested. It all starts with the manager opening the report page. When they submit a request, the interface sends the data straight to the report controller. To build a complete sale and transaction report, the controller needs to pull data from three different places. First, it hits the user database to get customer and staff details. Then, it queries the appointment database for the service types. And finally, it gets the financial data from the payment database. Once it collects everything, the system automatically audits and verify the report before displaying it back to the manager. For alternative flow, if there is no data for the selected date, the system will just display a no record found message. And for exception flow, if database fail or goes down, the system catch the error and show a friendly message so it just does not just crash.
This is the login page designed for our online car workshop appointment system. So this page allows registered users to access the system securely by entering their username and password. The interface is designed to be simple and user-friendly, making it easy for users to log in quickly. So there is also a forgot password option to help users recover their accounts if they forgot their credentials, and a register now link for new users who do not have an account yet. Next is the registration page design. This page allows new customers to create an account by entering their personal information, including full name, email address, phone number, username, and password. The confirm password field is included to ensure the password is entered correctly and to reduce registration errors. After completing all the required information, users can click the register button to create their account. For users who already have an account, they can simply click the login here link at the bottom of the page to return to the login page. Overall, this design provides a simple and user-friendly registration process.
The next one is UI design for appointment booking. The first step is the user insert their car type, like their car details and their service that they want. And the next one is validation and error prevention. The required fields prevent empty submission, while the disable choose a service placeholder prevent accidental default selection. The next one is flexible communication. The optional text area lets user to explain specific vehicle symptoms without slowing down the booking process. And the last one is support fallback. The bottom link acts as an escape hatch for users who need manual help or have issues not listed in the menu. The next one is UI design for slot selection calendar. The first one is to capture the exact date and time and then passes the user to the final checkout, and the selected date will be filtered, and then a backlink set lets user to return to step 1 to edit their vehicle details.
On these slides, I'm showing the flow of the payment interface in our online car workshop appointment system. The process begins when the customer reaches the payment page. After booking, the system will display a drop-down to choose the payment method. Next, the customer will enter their card detail, which is number, expiry date, and CVV. Once the information is filled in, they can select one of three buttons. The orange Pay Now button represents the basic flow where the system processes the payment securely and generates a receipt. The Pay Later button represent the alternative flow, marking the appointment as pending payment. The cancel payment button revert the status to unpaid if the customer decides not to proceed. This interface directly reflects the use case description. It showed how customers interact with the system to complete payment while also supporting alternative and exception flow. It makes the process clear, structured, and easy to follow. Before this, I'm showing the example for the credit card. So if customer want to select another payment method, they can choose between a credit card, debit card, FPS online payment, or a wallet. This slide shows the payment confirmation interface. After the customer completes a transaction, the system will display a clear success message with a green status, a transaction ID, and the amount paid. This confirms that the appointment is marked as paid and the receipt is stored in the database. The customer can then return to their dashboard while managers see the updated report. This page represents the post condition of the managed payment use case.
Now, let's see how this actually looks. This screen is the select report type page. We went with a clean sidebar on the left where the manager can easily click manage report. In the middle, they just use a quick drop down to choose the report type like the sales and transaction report here. Pick a date range from the calendar and hit that big orange generate system report button. Once they click that, they are brought to this next screen, which is the actual generated report. Like I mentioned in the sequence diagram, you can clearly see that this data is compiled from our three database. The table clearly breaks down from the customer is what service they got. For example, Ahmad Ibrahim getting an engine tuning and the total cost. At the bottom, we added a quick green status bar that confirms the report is verified and audited. And it lets the manager know that automated notification have already been sent out to the customer and staff.